All right, good morning. Yesterday we talked about the most complicated construction that we've done so far, which is constructing a reflective triangle. Any questions on that? It's just a lot of parts to it. If you watch the little animation on Delta Math, it's 30 steps. No questions? Okay. Make sure, like before Monday's test, you kind of review that process because, you know, it's going to be on the test. All right. So the next thing then, and the last thing, actually, this is the very last thing that we're doing, is constructing a dilated triangle. So remember a couple things, first of all, about dilations in general. So remember, first of all, a dilation is a change of size. And in particular, a enlargement is when it gets bigger, right? Or a reduction is when it gets smaller. And the center of dilation is the only point that stays stationary. Okay, so like if we just draw a sketch of an enlargement, like if I have a triangle that looks like this, for example, and call this like ABC. If I wanted to enlarge this by a scale factor of 2, let's say, centered at A, okay, it would be A is staying exactly where it is, and the other points are getting twice as far away from A. So it would look like this. Like every point is getting twice as far away from A. So this would be like A prime, B prime, C prime. So A triangle, A prime, B prime, C prime is a dilation. Bless you. Of triangle ABC. Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, God.
We have a sneeze battle. So triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is the dilation of triangle ABC of scale factor 2. Centered at A. So that's the vocabulary I wanted to just remind you of, because that's the vocabulary they're going to use when they ask you to do these dilations. Okay? So this is actually a fairly simple type of construction, especially compared to yesterday's. So here's a typical example. You do a triangle. Let's just do one just like the one that we just did, okay? Or the sketch that we just did. Okay? So let's say they give you a triangle. It could be any triangle at all. So let's just have it be like here. And let's see what you can see. And they would ask you to construct the dilation of triangle ABC centered at A. Again, let's just do the same thing. Centered at A. But this time, let's do scale factor 3. Scale factor 3. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is just make sure you can envision what the picture should look like, right? It's gonna, that point A is gonna stay the same. The triangle is just gonna go out further in this direction. It's gonna be like a big triangle that goes from there down to here somewhere, over to here somewhere, and then back to here, right? That's gonna be what the triangle looks like. If you can't envision what it looks like, then it's hard to know if you're right when you're done, right? So then the next thing you're gonna do, the first thing you're gonna do actually is just draw rays that start at A and go through B, and a ray that starts at A and goes through C. And you make sure that the ray that you're drawing, the rays that you're drawing are long enough, okay? So I'm just gonna draw a ray. I have a little ray drawer here, and I'm gonna start at A. I have enough room on my paper. Start at A and go through B, and make sure that that ray is at least 3 times as long as AB is. All right? And then I'm going to start at A, do a second ray that goes through C, and make sure that that ray is 3 times as long as AC is. So you just extend the lines. You're allowed to do that with your straight edge, right? I'm not measuring anything with my ruler. I'm just extending a line. And remember, when you're doing this on Delta Math, make sure that you start the ray here and you end the ray there so that it's going exactly where you hope it's going, right? The next thing we're going to do then is we're just going to copy this length and duplicate it twice. That's all we're going to do. I don't know if I have room up here, but let's try. So I'm going to use my compass. This.
It's not responding to the actual thing.
Cool.
Oh, there it is. There you go.
Okay. So there's my compass. It's up here somewhere. Yeah. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this line segment by putting the point of the compass at A, pencil part of the compass at C. My picture too big. And make a little marking to indicate that I measured that. And then just copy it. I'm just going to move my compass down, copy it to here. I'm going to run out of space.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be a big triangle.
Let's change this to a 2. Okay, look, I can do it now. So now I'm doing scale factor 2. Sorry, you should be able to do it on your paper probably, but I just ran out of space. So now, hopefully you agree that this point should be C prime. It's twice as far away from A as C is. No big deal, right? So this is C prime. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for B, and then I'm done. That's the whole thing. That's the whole construction. So I'm going to measure AB using my compass. This. Measure it. And then just move my compass down to that arc, measure it again. And then I should be able to just connect the dots, and that's it. That's the whole construction. So it's just going to go here to here. This is the point B prime, and that's the completed construction. Obviously, if it was 3 times as big, I'm just going to do this twice. And if it was 4 times, a scale factor of 4, I'm going to do it 3 times, right? So that I get like a segment that's 4 times as long. That's pretty easy, right? Especially compared to yesterday's. Now, the only other variation is, what if scale factor, instead of being 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, what if it's 1/2? Okay, so we could do that as well. So let's do a picture here. Another starting triangle. Yeah, I want to make this one actually. Okay, so this time, I have A here, A, B, C. And this time I want scale factor 1/2. And centered at A. So you should be able to do this on your own. What do you think you do? If I'm trying to do a scale factor of 1/2, that means it starts at A, it goes like halfway, and then it comes over here to halfway, and then it goes back to there. Yeah, how do you do that? Yeah, this is that perpendicular bisector construction, but we're not doing it to get the bisector or the perpendicular line, we're doing it to get the midpoint, right? That's it. So we're going to do that typical perpendicular bisector construction twice, once to AB and once to AC, right? So I'm going to open my compass more than halfway, starting at A, make a little arc. There's a little arc. Flip your compass around, go to the other side. The same size arc. And then connect the dots. Now for this, I don't want to do the actual line. I don't really care what the actual line is. All I care about is where it crosses the circle, or the side of the triangle rather, and it crosses the side of the triangle right there. That's the midpoint of AB, so this has to be B prime, right? Prime. And then I just have to do the same thing to segment AB, or AC, I mean. I'm going to open my compass more than halfway. I'll do this side in green. And make an arc, more than halfway, make an arc. Flip the compass around, go to the other side. Make the same size arc. And connect those points. So that point right there where it crosses, that has to be C prime. So now all I have to do is connect A, and this is definitely A prime, right? So just connect A prime, B prime, and C prime, and I'm done. So, draw here. After this.
Wow.
So that triangle is the dilation of the original triangle by a scale factor of 1/2. Center to A. Okay, so if it's 1/2, you do this perpendicular bisector construction twice. If it's any whole number, 1, 2, or 2, 3, 4, whatever, then you just do the copy line segment however many times. So that one's easier. I think it's easier if it's a whole number. Any questions? Okay, so remember, tomorrow I won't be here. It'll just be a free period, so bring something to do. Monday is the test, and remember, there's no corrections on this test, so you want to get it right the first time. And for some of you, you might be kind of on the bubble about whether this test means that you're like failing for the year and you're required to take the final, or you're not failing for the year and you don't have to take the final anymore. So I'll do as best you can. Yeah. No.
Okay.
It's optional if you're passing with a 65 or better for the year. Okay.
Mr. Wall is going to make it optional for that, but we were told that you have to do it for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to think of it that way, then this is your final, and it counts as a normal test.
Wow.
So if that's the way you want to think about it, and whatever, and if the administration asks me, that's what I'm doing. But it's really bonkers to me that there's so much micromanagement going on. So literally, if you're passing with a 65 or better after Monday's test, you do not have to take the next test. Okay? But for everyone else, this is literally your final exam. It's an exam and it's the last one. So there you go.